guys, I was already doing the review before, but then I realized I did a lot of mistakes. Not in the mathematics, but I wrote like the wrong things where I wasn't supposed to, so I'm doing it again. So straight out of the bat, this is going to be the entire review for your test. So if you guys did not copy everything, and I mean obviously we were not able to do everything because of the early release, I'm going to go over every single problem that we have. So right here on number 1, all it says is going to be find the area. Okay, so we know we have a rectangle. So the formula for a rectangle is going to be the following. I'm going to try and write it as big as possible so you guys can see. It's going to be area times length times width. Okay, we know I'm going to label over here on the right side my width. It's going to be equal to 15 meters. And my length is going to be 3.7 meters. Pretty easy, right? Let me see if I can make this a little. That's what I got. All I'm going to do, I'm going to plug everything into the formula, right? So I'm going to write 15 times 3.7. And this one, I'm going to start splitting a couple things that you guys need to do. So I'm going to write it out first, right? 15 times 3.70, or 7. Multiply them together, I'm going to get area is equal to 55.5. Oh my god, that's a horrible 5. Let me read it again. Meters squared. Whenever you do an area, so I'm going to write it right here just for your knowledge. Your units are going to be squared. Sometimes I know I get them, don't get them confused. I write like the opposite of each. So don't do what I do what I say. Whenever you do volume, make sure you put a 3. All right. So area is going to take, area is going to have that unit, and volume is going to have this unit. There we go. There's the 2 units that you're going to see a lot. Whenever you just solve for A, put units squared. Whenever you see for V, or solve for B, you're going to put units cubed. Alright, another big thing, I'm going to write it already just for you, because most of the problems we're going to do it accordingly to what they're asking for. Sometimes they're going to be asking you for 10th place. So I'm going to write 10th place. Then I'm going to write 100th. Do you want to erase the whole thing? 100th place. Alright, what the 10th place means is that you're going to have something n. You're going to have your decimal, and then you're going to have to round to the first decimal place. That's what 10th means. So I'm going to make sure I highlight this in blue so you guys are able to see. Alright. Now for your 100th place, it's going to be a little different. So you can get another color here. Yeah. For your 100th place, you're going to have your decimal. You're going to have a number, and then you're going to have your 100th place. So whenever they ask you to round to your nearest 10th, you're going to do this one. Whenever they ask you to round to your nearest 100th, you're going to do this one. Okay? Make sure you follow what it says there. It's multiple choice, so I don't think it really matters as much as whenever you actually plug in your answers. But just for this one, just make sure you focus on that because they do ask for most of them. So let's look at number 2. Exactly the same thing that I was saying. Number 2 is asking find an area of a triangle, round to the nearest hundredth. So I'm gonna write it over here. I'm gonna put point n dash n. So I'm gonna be rounding to the second decimal place. I'm gonna write my picture, just because I don't have it on here. I'm gonna do my little triangle, and it's telling me that my height is gonna be 2.3 centimeters, and my base is gonna be 5.5 centimeters. Did I do this problem right? Yeah. Right. So I'm gonna write what I have real quick. I'm gonna say that my height is gonna be 2.3, and I'm gonna say that my base is gonna be 5.5. Now I'm gonna make it a little bigger just so you guys can see everything that I'm doing. First things first, I'm gonna have to write the formula for a triangle. And this is the area formula for a triangle. So it's gonna be base times height is divided by 2. Now I'm gonna plug everything there down, right? So I'm gonna write over here, A is equal to my base, which is 5.5, times my height, which is 2.3. So whenever I multiply those two together, whenever I multiply these two together, it's going to be very easy. My actual answer is going to be A is equal to 12.65. Then I'm going to have to divide by 2, right? Because I didn't forget, I just did not write it over here on top. Just because I wanted to do whatever's on top first, then I like to divide at the very end. Now I'm going to divide that by 2. And I should get 6.33. I am running to the 100th place, which is this one's going to be my unit. I believe it's going to be centimeters. So it's going to be centimeters squared. And that's going to be my answer. From here on out, I'm going to try and go a little faster because I think I've been taking a lot of time just to do the problems. But I do want to make sure this video is less than at least 20 minutes. Because it's a lot of information, but it's like just plug and play. Next problem that we have is going to be a circle. Oh, that's a horrible circle. It says 8 inches. So out of the bat, I'm going to read what it says. Find the area of a circle, use a calculator. Use the calculator's values for pi. So we're going to be using 3.14. So I'm going to write what you guys are going to have to use. 3.14 for your pi every time that you multiply. And we're going to be rounding to the nearest tenth. That's all I need to know. I know they gave me the diameter, so the diameter is going to be 8 inches. I'm going to have to divide that by 8, actually I'm going to have to divide that by 2, which is going to give me 4 inches as my radius. Now that I have 4 inches as my radius, I can plug into the formula. The formula for a circle is going to be area, right? Pi r squared. Now I'm going to rewrite everything, but now I'm going to plug in my numbers. It's pi. And the only number this one has is radius, so this one's actually pretty nice. 4 times 4 is equal to 16 pi. Alright. If I were to ask you just to leave it in pi form, that would be your answer, but they're actually asking us that we just get the value for it. So I'm going to multiply 16 times 3.14. and I'm going to be rounding to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to get, oh, I never did this in class, but I'm going to do it right here. I'm going to show you guys that I'm actually multiplying by 3.14. I'm going to multiply by that, which is going to give me A is equal to 50.2, because I am running to the nearest tenth. It's going to be, I believe, it's inches squared. And that should be my answer for that. Not very hard. All I did is plug in. All I did is figure out my radius. And once I figured out my radius, I was able to do it just fine. Now we're actually going to be dealing with the cone. Okay, I'm going to have a cone. I know that my radius, I know to capitalize, it's going to be 4 km. And I know that my height is going to be 12 km. So what are we solving here? So whenever you get a three-dimensional shape, you cannot really do area, unless I think you can do surface area, which is different. And we're not covering that in the class. We're actually talking about volume. All right, whenever we see a three-dimensional shape, just know that we're talking about volume. So I'm going to put B is equal to pi r squared h divided by 3. This might be the one equation that you guys might have trouble remembering. But just, if you can remember the equation for cylinder, just make sure that whenever you do a cone, you write like the cylinder equation, right? Because the cylinder equation is just this. I'm highlighting it for you guys. Pi r squared h. That's the equation for a cylinder. That what makes the difference between cylinder and a cone is that you're going to have to divide by 3 at the end. And that's it. They have like basically the same equation, except for one's divided by 3 and the other one's not. So cone, you have to divide by 3 at the very end. And I usually do that because, it makes it easier for me whenever I don't have to worry about it until the very end. So I just work everything that needs to be multiplied, then divide. Let's go back to the problem. We already know everything that we know. So all I'm going to do, I'm just going to plug in my values in. I'm going to show everything because I don't want you guys to get confused. I have R, which what we said was going to be 4. And my height is going to be 12. Okay, I'm going to show you guys that I am dividing by 3. But I'm going to do that at the end. So I'm going to multiply my square first. So I'm going to get pi. It's going to be 16 times 12. Now I'm going to have to figure out what that is whenever we're multiplying together. That's why you use your calculators, Sometimes you just can't figure it out at the top of your head fast enough. So I'm going to multiply 16 times 12. Which is going to give me 192. Then everything's going to be divided by 2. Now I'm going to divide 192 by 3. I get 64. What did I just do? That's what I get, 64 pi. Now, this problem, did I specify? Oh, I did not. It says we have to find the volume of the place and we have to put in the nearest hundredth. That means that we're going to have to multiply 64 by pi. And I'm going to put it right here. It's going to be hundredth place, it's going to be n. It's going to be your second decimal. I'm going to multiply 64 by 3.14. And I should get it's a big number. 200.96. and I believe it was kms cubed. Because we're dealing with volume today, we're actually gonna have to cube it. But let me do it again. I'm not too sure if I did it correctly. Yes, okay. So it's gonna be the answer. They asked me to round to the nearest hundredth, so that's my rounding. And that's literally how you do number 4. We're what? We need 7 more problems. Shouldn't be too difficult. So for this one, I'm just gonna try and go as fast as possible. So we're gonna have a cylinder. And they tell us that my height is 7 meters. And that my... Oh, okay. Oh my god, let me do it again. That's a horrible picture. Okay, there we go. Oh, that's so much better. They're telling us that my diameter is going to be 30 meters and my height is going to be 7 meters. I'm going to divide 30 by 2. It gives me 15. So my radius is going to be 15 meters. Now my height, like I said, is going to be 7 meters. I'm reading the problem. It's saying that we're going to have to round it to the nearest hundredth. So I'm going to be point, and it's going to be my second decimal. Now it says, leave your answers in terms of pi. Okay? And just round whatever number you got by... It just says to round your numbers. But I don't think we're going to be needing to round anything. Now we're doing a three-dimensional shape, so we're basically solving for volume. And the equation for your cylinders is going to be pi r squared h. Now I'm going to plug everything that I know. I know my radius is going to be 15 and my height is going to be 7. So it's going to be pi. It's going to be 15 squared times 7. This one's going to be a pretty big number. Then 15 squared should be 225. Then times 7. Now 225 times 7, you're going to get 1,575 pi. And my units, I believe, was meters cubed. Okay, that's going to be meters cubed. So that's the third one. That's the third one. What am I even talking about? That's my numbers, my sixth problem. Now one number 6. All we're going to do here, we're just going to have to multiply this bad boy. So if you look at number 6, you're going to see that you're going to have kind of a prism. You're going to have your values as follows. Your base is going to be 3. Your width is going to be 6. And your height is going to be 9 yards. I'm going to read the problem. What it says just says find the volume. So I don't have to round this one just because it's not asking me to. All you're going to do, if you remember, the volume for a prism is going to be base times height times width. Okay? So I know that my height is 9. My width is 6. And my base is 3. So I'm going to plug everything in. 3 times 9 times 6. 3 times 9 is 27. Then I just need to multiply 27 times 6, which is going to give me 162 yards cubed. Okay, now we're going directly to number 7 here. Number 7. Oh, I like this one because they start getting. So at this point in your review, you are no longer dealing with numbers. You are dealing with expressions only. So all we're going to do, we're going to deal with the expressions at this point. Main thing that you need to understand, you don't have to write units on this one just because I'm not going to ask you to do it. Because technically you could write units squared at the end, or units cubed, right? Not going to ask you guys to do that in this one. Just write the expressions and that's all you got to do. So out of the get-go, we're talking about rectangle and square, so it's going to be length times width. Okay? So I'm going to use my length as the top one. So it's going to be L is going to equal to x plus 8. And my width is going to be 2x plus 3. Whenever I plug everything in I wish. Whenever I plug everything in, I'm going to have x plus 8. And then I'm going to have 2x plus 3. I'm going to do what we did in class. So I'm going to grab this one, multiply with the first one, and then grab this one, multiply with the second one. So x times 2x is going to give me 2x squared. Now x times 3 is going to be plus 3x. I'm going to make this a little bigger so I can write better. And then I'm going to grab 8, I'm going to multiply by that, and I'm going to grab 8, multiply by that. So 8 times 2x is going to give me 16x. And then plus, oh my god, I wrote it. I believe that's going to be 24. So let me rewrite it. It's going to be x squared plus 3x plus 16x plus 24. At this point, you're going to have to combine like terms. So I'm going to write 2x squared. I'm going to add these two together. So I should get 19x plus 24. And that's it. That's literally all you do. That is going to be my answer right here. Yep. This one, you don't have to divide by anything. You don't have to do anything special. All you got to do, you just multiply both of your areas. This one with this one, and that's all. That's your answer. So your answer is 2x squared plus 19x plus 24. All you're doing, you're just doing the FOIL method. Now, the next problem, number 8, is going to be a triangle. They're telling us that our height is going to be x minus 7, and our base is going to be 8x plus 4. So I'm just going to write it for your knowledge. So height, x minus 7, and base is going to be 8x plus 4. My equation for area of a triangle is going to be base times height divided by 2. Okay, I'm gonna write divided by 2 at the very end just to deal with it later. But right now I'm just gonna write what I have on top. So it's gonna be, my base is 8x plus 4 times x minus 7. Whenever I multiply this one by this one, 8x times x, I'm going to get 8x squared Now whenever I multiply 8x by -7, I'm going to get negative 56x. Then I'm going to multiply 4 times x, which is going to be plus 4x. And finally, I'm going to multiply positive 4x times -7, negative 28. Yes. Going to combine my like terms, those two. So I'm going to get 8x squared minus 52. I forgot to write the 5. 52x minus 28. Now, my final thing that I need to worry about, I need to divide by 2 and everything. So my final answer is going to be 4x squared minus 26x minus 14. And that's going to be your final answer. Okay? A lot of these problems, you just have to do the FOIL method. Literally, that's all you have to do. Now we have 3 more problems. We're almost there. Yes. I know this video, I said I didn't want it to make it like 30 minutes, almost 30 minutes long. Dang it. I mean, if I just did them and didn't explain anything, then maybe I could have done it a little shorter. But the fact that I just want to explain to you guys what's going on. The next one, we're going to have a cylinder. So whenever we have 3-dimensional shapes, you already know that we're going to be trying to solve for volume. So the formula for volume is going to be pi r squared h. Okay. And the problem is going to just look just like this. They're going to tell you this is r and this is h. And then on the top, I believe they put r is equal to 4x and your height is going to equal to 6x. Now that I have everything that I need to know, I'm just going to plug in. I know volume is going to equal to pi 4x squared times 6x. I simplified the square root, or not the square root, the square. So I'm going to get pi 16x times 6x. Now I don't remember exactly what that is. 16 times 6. Alright. So 16 times 6 is going to be 96x pi. Alright, that's going to be my answer, 96x pi. And I'm just going to leave it like that. There's nothing more to it because this one's not a cone. If it was a cone, then we would definitely have to divide. But I can see already on the problem it's telling us we need to round to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply pi 96 times pi. I'm going to multiply them together, and I'm actually going to write my decimal. So 96 times 3.14 is going to give you volume is equal to 301.4 and that's it. X. Because I said we run it to the nearest tenth. We're going to leave it like that. The previous it didn't even ask, so I'm not even going to bother for that one, but this one it did. It said that you guys need to run to the nearest tenth, so that's exactly what it did. And that should be your final answer for the problem. Let me just... There we go. Now we're going to move on. Now we have a cone. I think cones are the hardest ones because as soon as people see them, they start thinking, oh my god, I'm going to have to do so much. And to be really honest, yes, they do require the most amount of work, but they're just like all the other problems. They're not really difficult. It's just plug and play. We know that our diameter is going to be 6x, so I'm going to have to change that to my radius. which if I divide 6 by 2, I'm going to get 3x. And I know my height is going to be 3x plus 2. Right? Surprisingly, this one's not as bad because we didn't get a binomial as the radius. So that's kind of nice whenever you get a problem like this. It's very, very easy. So again, my formula for volume is going to be V is equal to pi r squared times h. Gonna plug in everything that I know. I know that my radius is gonna be what? 3x squared, and then I'm gonna multiply by 3x plus 2. Oh, so nice. Now I'm gonna have volume. 3x times 3x is gonna equal to 9x squared. And then we still need to multiply by the 3x plus 2. I multiply 9x squared times 3, which is going to give me 20. Oh, what did I put on there? Well, before I forget. Yeah, because I do it at the very end, but I'm going to put a 3 right here. We're dealing with counts, so we're going to have to divide by 3. I put it back there. Like I always do it at the end, so it doesn't really matter for me, but don't never forget to divide by 3 whenever you're doing counts. Then I'm going to multiply this guy. I'm going to highlight it, poop, and multiply with that. Therefore, I'm going to get pi is equal to 27x cubed, because both of them have a x, and then plus what's 9x squared times 2 is going to equal 18x squared. Okay? At this point, I'm going to divide everything by 3. So my volume is going to equal to pi 9x cubed. There we go, cubed, plus 6x squared. And finally, I'm going to distribute my pi with everything. I'm going to have 9 pi x cubed plus 6 pi x squared. And that's going to be my final answer. That's going to be my final answer. 9 pi x cubed plus 6 pi x squared. Yeah, this one just takes a lot of work. Look at all the work that we did, but technically it's not harder than the other ones. It's still exactly the same thing. Finally, so I can just let you guys go. I mean, I know not a lot of people are going to watch this, but for who's watching this, this is the final problem that you're going to have to deal with. I know it took me quite a bit longer than I was expecting, but at least I went over every problem. So if you were just to take your notes and copy everything, then you will be completely fine for the test. Finally, we're doing volume again because we're doing a three-dimensional shape. This one's going to be a prism. And we know that prisms, the volume for that is going to be base times height times width. I'm going to label my stuff. So I know my base is going to be 3x plus 5. I know my height is going to be x plus 3. And I know that my width is going to be x4. What I'm going to do, I'm going to multiply my binomials first. It doesn't matter what order you multiply them in whenever it comes to prisms. Because all you got to do, you just got to multiply all 3 sides. But I usually like to multiply my binomials. So I'm going to do my base, right? Times the height, which is the x plus 3 times the 4x. Alright, I'm going to do FOIL method again. That times that is going to give me 3x squared. Now that times that's going to give me plus 9x. Now I'm going to have 5 times x plus 5x. Now 5 times 3 plus 15. Going to combine my like terms right here. So I'm going to have 3x squared plus 14x plus 15. I still need to multiply by the 4x and everything. So my final answer should be 12x squared. No, cubed, right? Because we're multiplying by this, and both of them have an x. And then plus, what's 4 times 14? It's going to be 56 x squared. And finally, 60x. And that should be your final answer. Let me just highlight it just so you guys can see it. And that's it. Again, you're going to have to do FOIL method first, distribute, and then multiply right here. It's not very difficult. It's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. But yet again, it is quite a process for most of the stuff whenever you have to do expressions. So just try your best on the test. That's basically all of it. I'm going to go from the top to the bottom just so very slowly. So just in case you just want to copy everything, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to put a little stamp right there. So if you want to hear all the explanations, obviously you can watch the 36 minutes. But if you just want to watch and copy it, I'm going to let you guys copy it. Because, I mean, some of you can understand it just by looking at it and copying it. And some people understand just by doing the whole thing. I'm going to try and upload the whole thing and see if you guys can just do it. But I'm going to go very slowly just in case I am not able to. So on the video, you can just stop in and do it. So question number 1 is that one. Now question number 2 is that one. And I'm going to highlight the answers so it's easier for you guys to see. There we go. Question number 3 is going to be the circle. Question number 4 is a cone. Question number 5 is a cylinder. Question number 6 is a prism. Question number 7 is, we're talking expressions already. Question number 8, expression, but this one's a triangle. Okay. Question number 9 is going to be a cylinder. Question number 10 is going to be a cone. And finally, question 11 is going to be a rectangular prism. Alright, that was the entire video. If you watched the entire thing, man, you're a champ. But you don't have to watch everything. I'm going to leave everything. I'm going to explain it on Google Classroom. But for those people who want to see certain explanations, you can just go right into it. Alright? So thank you guys for watching.